السلام عليكم صباح الخير كيف الحال إن شاء الله أنت بخير. It's me Fatima. اسمي Fatima is Arabi, but it's me is what it kind of sounds like, so which is basically saying my name is Fatima. So I'm going to introduce VEDA Day 8. In VEDA Day 8, we will be discussing the importance of pronunciation, and I'm not going to necessarily share any tips on how to master the Arabic sound. Yesterday's video, you got a chance to see how I do some pronunciation. Maybe I'll drop some little gems in here as well on how I practice pronunciation and do drills with my ustada, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video today is going to be talking about like the importance of pronunciation and all of that good jazz. So why is there a significance on pronunciation? And I don't think it's just an Arabic thing. I think it's also in different languages. For those of you that have studied Japanese, I have not, but from the videos that I've seen, everyone talks about pitch accent, or when it comes to like Korean, they say that it is a tonal language, meaning if you don't say something in the right pitch or tone, you may not be understood. Maybe you won't be understood. And I think that although we look at English as Americans as a very flat language, or at least I do, we have lots of different accents and ways that people pronounce things throughout the United States. For instance, living in California, people from Northern California to Southern California have a unique accent. People within Los Angeles and the different places within LA, like Compton, Inglewood, Long Beach, wherever, they also have different ways of pronouncing words. Are they understood? Absolutely, right? But they have accents. And of course, people from the South, I'm from South Carolina originally, and a lot of people in the South will say that we don't all sound the same. We don't think that we do, but people from the outside may think that, oh, that's just a Southern accent, and then they'll leave it at that. But I feel like people from South Carolina sound very different than people from Alabama. Even people from Alabama sound very different than people who may be from like Arkansas, for instance. And then when you get down to Texas, I think that's a completely different accent, as well as Louisiana. It's like the state of Louisiana, and then you have New Orleans. And within New Orleans, you have that New Orleans accent, and then you also have Creole and all the different mixes of different languages as well. And of course, the North, right? I'm not forgetting about Middle America, but I don't really think about accents when I think about Middle America. Maybe I think about Minnesota. But definitely in the North, when you think about Northern accents, you're thinking about really people from like Baltimore, people from New York, people from New Jersey. Like everybody has a different way of speaking, and that is by an accent. To me, when I think about pronunciation, I'm thinking that your accent plays a part in that as well. So why is it important to have good pronunciation? Pronunciation is important in communication because it helps convey messages clearly and confidently. Incorrect pronunciation can lead to misunderstandings, confusion, offense even, especially when communicating with an audience that speaks English as a second language. So that is the reason why sometimes people who are speaking to people, they speak a little bit louder, a little bit clearer, making sure that that person understands. For instance, I can say, "What are you doing today?" That could sound like one word to someone who does not speak English as a native language. But what are you doing today? What are you doing today? What are you doing today? So as you can see, that's a portion of pronunciation, and that's the reason why it is, I guess there's a lot of emphasis on it. And also to me, as a new learner, when you're learning a new language, you want to pronounce things correctly so that you know that you're building good habits, right? Like in the beginning, that's very, very important. Within Arabic, there are definitely some words that I will share with you that are pronounced differently based on the dialect, right? So it's the same exact words, same exact spelling, or should I say character usage, but they are pronounced differently. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at those words. As I mentioned, I'm using Al-Kitab, and those particular books teach in 3 dialects, I guess you could say. Technically, Levant, Shami, Misri, Egyptian, and Fusha, Modern Standard Arabic. And so what I'll do now is pull up a module and kind of share with you and allow you to listen to what that would be like. So for instance, even an Islamic greeting of Assalamu alaikum, we'll listen to it in Fusha,
Assalamu alaikum.
Shami,
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. There's a little bit more pep there.
Assalamu alaikum.
And that's Egyptian. Assalamu alaikum. So when you're looking at it to the naked eye, it's like, okay, this is the exact same word. What do you mean there's a different pronunciation of it? Yeah, exact same word, exact same short vowels. And let's even look at this other word where the short vowels are a little different for the last letter, but this means hi or hello, and it is ahlan.
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 Ahla.
Ahla.
Ahlan.
Ahlan. So there's differences there, and then we'll do one more. And this is hello.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan wa sahlan. That's Fusha.
Ahla wa sahla.
Ahla wa sahla. That is Shami.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan wa sahlan. That's Misri. So as you can, I can imagine, if you say either of these 3 sayings to anyone, because they're so common, people are going to know what you're saying, right? This is not special to a particular dialect, but the way you pronounce it is what's special to that particular dialect. But people will still be able to understand you. You'll still be able to get your message across clearly. But there are, of course, other things where you just completely mispronounce a word and it completely changes the meaning of it in Arabic, for sure. And one example of that I guess I can give you is, let me pull it up so that you can hear it. But it's going to be table versus tall. So table is
طاولة.
tawila. Tawila. Tawila is table, right? And then tall is
طويل.
tawil. Tawil, tawila. But if you're talking about like tall, well, like if you say like she is tall, she is tall.
هي طويلة.
Hiya tawila, right? So obviously it depends on the context of that point, right? But you're saying like hiya tawila. Tawila and then tawila. It literally to me looks the exact same, like tall, tawila. Now the actually table is different. No. Yes. Wait, let me show you. I want to take a look at it. So that's ta, alif, wow, lam, tamabuta. Okay, and let's do tall. Oh, okay. So there is actually like a ya in tall. So tawil, right? There's a ya in there. So it's ta, wow, ya, lam in there. And then if it were talking about a tall woman, then you would add the termabuta at the end. So there's just different things where it's like, that's the importance as well of like being able to read the language that you are hoping to speak outside of your native language, and also being able to write it as well. Like just being able to slow down for a second and not only focus on pronunciation by hearing and by listening, but by also being able to read it and see it for yourself. So that is the reason why pronunciation is important. And as far as tips on improving pronunciation, we kind of just went through it together, like looking up the pronunciation of new words in a dictionary. Mind you, you may have heard Fusa being pronounced differently. Like they were saying like tawilatun tun. Like obviously, you know, that portion at the end may not necessarily be needed. You can just say tawila, tawila. You can just say that and that's totally fine. But looking it up in whatever resource that you have, for me, it's the book, where luckily the vocabulary, I can hear it as well as see it. That's very important. Practice minimal pairs to distinguish between similar sounds. We just practiced that. Minimal pairs to help distinguish between similar sounds. We just did that with tall and table. Specifically, a tall woman, or she is tall, because we want to make it feminine to sound even similar to table. Repeat tongue twisters to improve articulation and fluency. That's kind of similar to like what you would do as a child. I know at least in America, we would say like, she sells seashells down by the seashore. That's a tongue twister for sure. You never really say it in your everyday life, but you're just practicing the muscles, building the muscles in your mouth to be able to pronounce things correctly. Practice annotation patterns and record yourself speaking and compare it to the pronunciation of a native speaker. That is very important, people. Like, I know that we don't like to hear ourselves talk as it is in our native voices. So I can only imagine how cringy it is for all of us to hear that in our target language, but that is the reason why it's important. It is only and mainly important to make sure that you are pronouncing it correctly, because why? Pronunciation is not a matter of fluency, but pronunciation is a matter of, are you being understood or not? Okay, so inshallah, that was very helpful for you. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video short today. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please like this video if you liked it. Share it with someone who may need to hear it. Comment your thoughts below. And subscribe to our little community. Until next time, folks. Ma'as salama.